Just remind.
Hello, everybody. This is Nanette Kennedy with Humanities Team and Evolution Revolution. And today we are beginning Tomorrow's God by Neale Donald Walsch. And we'll start reading that here in just a minute. Did anybody want to make an announcement? Okay. Well, Bima, I was mentioning a minute ago that Greta is here in Colorado this weekend, making a good splash, so that's good news. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm happy you're here.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Okay, Linda, do you want to take it away?
Sure. All right, so we are reading today Tomorrow's God, Our Greatest Spiritual Challenge by Neale Donald Walsch. And we'll start with the author's note. While the conversation transcribed here took place as one continuous progression, this book is offered in two parts. Part one deals with humanity's current conception of God and the new ideas about deity that will characterize God in our not-too-distant future. Part two examines how these new ideas will be put into place, how they will impact our lives, and how they will help us create a newer world. If they do not help us in this way, they will, of course, mean nothing. Neale Donald Walsch. Introduction. This book contains the most exciting news of the past 100 years. Humanity is about to create a new form of spirituality on the earth. Our civilization stands at the brink of its greatest adventure and its most extraordinary achievement. I want you to commit now to finding your place in that creation. This book is a look at tomorrow's God. It is about humanity's future. Not some far-off distant vision, but rather it includes a startling prediction for the next 30 years. It is about our near future and the role that humans will play in creating it. It is about the role that you play in creating it. It is about what will happen and how it will happen. Like other With God books, this text takes the form of a conversation with God, but it is not necessary to believe that I actually had such a conversation in order to benefit from it. All that is necessary is that you have an open mind, and this book even tells you how to achieve that. But now, fair warning, you will find information in this book that is not new to you. Very little here cannot be found cumulatively in the sacred writings of all the world's wisdom's traditions. Very little has not already been spoken by all of humanity's master teachers. Very little, for that matter, has not appeared in my own previous writing. What then would be the reason to read this book? I suggest that it is not that it contains wisdom that we have not been given, but that it repeats wisdom to which we have not been listening. And the problem is, if we do not listen to this wisdom now, we may not have any more chances to have it repeated. We are at the edge, you see. We have gone as far as we can go in the direction we have been taking. We need now to change course if we wish to preserve life as we know it on this planet. Humanity cannot afford any more temper tantrums. We have found a way to pack the end of the world into a briefcase. We can seal the death of civilized society in a spore-filled envelope and simply mail it off. Talk about our fate being sealed. We have trained ourselves to be able to fly airplanes into buildings, killing thousands of people without flinching. We've talked ourselves into believing that preemptive strike, shooting first and asking questions later, is a perfectly acceptable means of conducting foreign policy. We have decided that to have dominion over the earth means to destroy it and to pretend that we don't know we're doing it. We've concluded that altering the basic genetic structure of our food is the way to improve it. We've chosen to allow 20% of the people to receive 80% of the world's income and to call this the good life. We are, in short, confused. Yet there is a way out of this confusion, and you can play a role in taking us there. This book talks about your role. It says that the next 30 years will see a paradigm shift within humanity so positive, so upheaving, so reshaping, so utterly inside-outing that it will alter the course of human history. And it invites you, yes, you, the person now holding this book, to join in this reinventing of humanity. That is why this book has been written. It is an introduction invitation directly from God to you. Think about this. Now think about how this book came into your hands. How did you come to hear of it? Or if you never knew about it until just this minute, how did it attract your attention? What made you pick this up and start reading it? For that matter, what makes you keep reading it? Do you think this is happening all by chance? It is not. There is no such thing as chance. The universe does nothing by accident. This book has come to you to tell you that you can change the course of human history. You. Not only the people who run governments or own corporations or lead movements or write books or are influential for some reason. Not only those people. You. You can change the course of human history. This is not an exaggeration. Please believe me. This is not an exaggeration. This book calls you to that singular undertaking. It invites you now to internalize the wisdom of both ancient and contemporary masters found here. Not merely to hear it again, but now to receive it, to take it in, to absorb it at the deepest level of your being until it becomes the essence of who you are at the cellular level. Life will be inviting you in the years immediately ahead to act and respond from this level of deep knowing that you place here now, and what you place here now in terms of the things you profoundly believe and how far you spread the message found here through the living of your life in a new way will make all the difference in the world to the world. Yet do not feel that you have to do this all by yourself. Perhaps the most uplifting and exciting part of this message that is brought to us in this book is that now none of us have to go it alone. We have teammates and we can join them and call them to us and rally around humanity's greatest cause, changing ourselves and changing our world. I said earlier that you might not find much that is new in this book. I was wrong. You might find a new you and a way to create a new world. Part 1, Redesigning God. Chapter 1, The Great Blasphemy. And now we are back into conversation. We need a new God. I know. No, I'm serious. We need a new God. The old God isn't working anymore. Well, the old one never did. Never worked. Well, some people think it did. They were not looking at the world around them. They weren't? No. Not honestly, not comprehensively. They were only seeing what they wanted to see. They were not seeing the cruelty and the fighting and the killing that was going on in God's name. They were not seeing the oppression and the separation and the fear and the utter dysfunction. Or worse yet, they were seeing it and they played into it. They used it as a means of controlling the people. In truth, the old God, yesterday's God, might have made individual lives work here and there, perhaps even many of them. But that God was never able to create a just society or a joyful, harmonious civilization, to say nothing of a peaceful world. And that God can't do that even today. Even today, with all your powers of instant communication and total connection and advanced comprehension and increased awareness and sophisticated technology and marvelous miracles, you can't produce the simple, humble experience for which humanity has yearned from the beginning of time. You can't produce peace. I know. You can't produce lasting joy. I know. And the God in whom you believe can't either. Why? Why? Why can't all the best efforts of humanity and all the help we've begged for and received from God produce this result? Because the God in whom you believe isn't real. The God in whom you believe is made up. Okay, hang up. I have to cough. Because the God in whom you believe isn't real. The God in whom you believe is made up. It is a God you created out of thin air, having nothing to do with the ultimate reality. Well, there's a challenging thought. That's just about the greatest blasphemy. All truths begin as blasphemy. The time to challenge your most sacred beliefs is at hand. If you don't challenge your beliefs soon, your beliefs are going to challenge you. This book is meant to be challenging. This book is meant to save the world. Will it? Well, that's up to the world. Why? Why isn't it up to you? You're God. If you're God, why isn't it up to you? Because my function is not to save the world. My function is to create it. And after you create it, you don't care what happens? I care what happens as much as you do. No, you don't. If you care what happens as much as we do, you wouldn't let the world destroy itself. You mean if I care what happens more than you do? If I care what happens as much as you do, I will let the world destroy itself, because that's exactly what you are doing. Since I care only as much as you do, the world in which you live may very well be destroyed. At the very least, life as you know it could be irrevocably altered. And if that's what happens, I will let it happen. Why? Why don't you do something to stop it? Because you won't. We can't. You can. You're God. You can do what humans cannot. Your statement is inaccurate. I can and you can. But I will not unless you do. Why not? What kind of a God are you? The best kind there is. The only kind there is. The kind who gives you free will and who will never, ever interfere with that. Not even to save us from ourselves. If I saved you from yourselves, then you wouldn't be yourselves. but only a slave to me. You would not have free will. Your will would be free only until you did something that I did not want you to do. Then I would stop the exercise of your free will and make you do what I want you to do. Of course you would. If you were half the God that humans think you are, you would stop us from destroying ourselves. You would do what is best for us. You would make us do what is best for us. By whose assessment and by whose definition? What? Best by whose assessment, and us by whose definition? By yours, by your assessment, by your definition. You would define what is meant by the term us. You would decide what is best for us, and then you would make what is best happen for all of us. We depend on you to do this. That's what God is for. Really? Is that what you think? End of chapter.
Thank you, Linda. Anybody have comments?
Yeah, this free will business is really getting on my nerves.
Yeah, I love a discussion about free will because it's so challenging. It's really so challenging because the real thing is that free will, yeah, we've got free will, except that we're in a play. This is how I describe it or think of it. We're in a play, and the play is to create heaven on earth. And right now, just about everybody on the planet's off script. Right? Got off the stage, they're wandering around, they're out in the streets, they're doing something else. And that's their free will. That's their free will. But the point is, the way I look at it, they're entitled to do that. But in the end, we're all really still in the play, and the play goes on. You know, when I did theater, the play goes on. You have to be dead for the play not to go on. Right? When you're in that industry, they never cancel a play. I mean, it has to be, like I said, you have to be dead for them to cancel an evening show. So ultimately, we have a choice. We can exercise our free will, or we can decide we're going to do what we came here to do and get back into the play. Because if we don't, we just have to come back and do it again. We keep coming back into this form, into this iteration, into our lifetimes until we exercise our role in the play. Over.
I agree with what you just said. And I think it's very ironic that that's the kind of thing that Greta is espousing. It's like we've got to get up off our asses and do something. That nobody else is going to do it for us. Over.
We're having an election here on the 21st of October. And the drama about climate change is just shocking because there's one woman who's the Green Party leader, and she's the only one who makes any sense. And one of the leaders is making fun of Greta Thunberg. So the drama and the stupidity are frightening because they're digging their heels in, all the men, and these are not old white men, not all of them. They're just accusing each other and keeping up the fight and happy to hate Greta. So it's sad that a first world country like Canada is behaving at least as poorly as India or China. Over.
Well, the U.S. is definitely right up there with the Canadians.
They're setting the standard for us, you know, like our, whoever it was that said stuff about Greta is just doing what Donald did. So it's truly sad.
Pathetically sad.
And yet for us to meet here and read this book and truly believe that our meditation will make a difference is very encouraging, which is why I wouldn't miss this for anything except my daughter's wedding, which is over.
Well, then we can count on you.
Well, we can count on the critical mass led by Greta because there's a lot of young people who are mad as hell and they won't take it anymore.
And they should be mad as hell. I'm mad as hell for them.
Me too.
A thing I noticed.
Well,
oh,
go ahead, Mary.
A thing I noticed that I think is interesting is that in the introduction or whatever, he says something about the next 30 years. And I looked at when that book was copyrighted, and it was 2004, which means that we are at the halfway point of that next 30 years. And I thought about that and thought, well, we're probably right at about the right point, thinking about Greta and what's going on and the freaking utter chaos that we're in, because changing from one paradigm to another paradigm is not easy. That made me feel little better, the idea that it's clear that we are in the process, probably about the right point if we're 15 years into what we thought was a 30-year thing. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, I agree, Mary. Well, there are lots of, speaking to Shabana's comments, there's lots of youth that are suing the government. I believe that there is a lawsuit in Alaska where the Alaska youth have sued for climate change reasons, and I think there's also one in Washington State that's going, working its way up through the court systems. So, yeah, I mean, we probably all remember that movie years and years ago, Network. They put a window up and stuck their head out and they screamed, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore." I don't know if we're going to get it done in the next 15 years, so over.
I believe we will, Linda, because it's the women everywhere. I'm noticing that it's women who are now predominating the way the men once did. So it looks to me like not just that, I had a very unusual dream this morning, which was something I've never ever experienced. Um, my daughter's husband was putting forth a proposal for some kind of spiritual advancement for global change. And for some reason, I had to phone up her, my former husband's house to bring something for, to pick up some item for this speech that my son-in-law was making. And the cleaning lady was a man. So that was unusual because usually the cleaning lady is a woman. And to see my son-in-law be the one who was proposing a spiritual change impressed me that now the roles are switching, at least in my family. So that gave me more hope than ever, because usually, like looking at the Green Party leader here in Canada, it's only the women who are speaking up, and everyone on this call is female. So I'd appreciate anyone's comment on that. Thank you.
I can say something about that. I indeed believe that women have a very huge influence at the moment. It has to be, because in so many situations, I mean, Swedish women have been quite free in one way, but we are still not sticking up too much. But it is a new time in a way where women come together, which was in indigenous places. They listened to the women. That was natural, and that has gone away from industry and technical and all this. And it's coming up now in a new way. So I believe that. But I have this week met two men where I had deep talks who say that their closest friends are women, because women, they could talk from the heart and they feel more connected when they talk to women. And that is our nature. Women connect because we have a womb and we are that kind of human bodies to connect. So if we can connect to the man deeply, they can start to connect to each other also in another way. So I think the new paradigm needs to be connected from inside. Our cosmic consciousness or our unity, the oneness, that is absolutely necessary for the next paradigm. But then there is another thing that overwhelms me a little bit, and that is nature catastrophes, tornadoes, fires, and all these things that is not just done directly by criminals or stupid people, but it's happening in the nature, and so many people suffering. But I think also that we can influence that energy if we are connected. I don't think of anything more than deeply connected, and that's why I'm here. And women are really instruments for that, to come into being in humanity today. Over.
Thank you, Bima. That was very, very well thought out. I need to think some more before I make a comment, because I want to make sure it comes out of my mouth right. Over.
was doing the A Course in Miracles readings, and the
Give me a minute.
Pardon?
I got both phones in here.
Hands off mute.
I just took her, put her on mute.
Go ahead, Shabana.
Okay, well, Linda, I've had just one thing in mind with that whole Course in Miracles, which is simply this, that the atonement is progressive and retroactive.
Yes.
And in my personal body, there's a big change, like in my physical being. Once I recognize that all my ailments have been caused by judgment and self-condemnation. So when I go for my walk and I pray for Gaia, I atone for my personal contribution in terms of wasting and all of that, you know, being disrespectful of the fact that my physical body and everything else is Gaia, is the material manifestation, is coming out of a living, breathing, sensitive soul. I believe Gaia has a soul. And I apologize for myself. And if I'm doing that for myself, I'm also doing it for humanity. And then I comfort Gaia by saying, I'm sorry about the fires and the floods and all of these other calamities that Bhima just mentioned. Because one understanding is that Gaia is furious and is letting us know how she feels about us by doing this. So by acknowledging my fault and apologizing, I feel that I'm doing it for everyone, for all of the human race, because I represent not only myself, if we're all one. And when you told me, Linda, that the air quality in Alaska is better, at least where you live is better, then I feel good, because this book here now, this little bit that you just read, says that we can exercise our free will and that we are powerful. And I feel that power in my own body, because the amount of insulin that I need to take has gone down dramatically with the sincerity with which I change my thoughts the minute I recognize the judgment and the self-hatred and the projection. So thank you for letting me say that.
That's beautiful, Shabana.
Thank you. I feel very encouraged by your biting off a whole chapter every time. Like, that's a lot of work, Linda, and you're a trooper. But it couldn't have come at a better time, because, I mean, the book's been around since, what, 72, 77, something like that. You know,
77. Yeah.
77 is the latest edition.
No, that's when it was published. That's when it was published, 77.
Okay, but I've heard that there are various printings which have different stuff in them, and there are newer books which are very similar, but for you to do it here now, and for you to do it right after this is fills me with more respect and admiration, if that's possible, for you.
Well, I appreciate that, Shibana, but in all fairness, I feel I should say that Humanities Team also has, on Sundays in the afternoon, they have a Course in Miracles that they're doing. It's at 3 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Eastern, or no, 4 o'clock Pacific. It would be 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm not the only one doing that work. And because this is a Humanities Team function, I feel like we should at least give them a shout out as well, because I'm sure they're doing great work also. You said one thing about Gaia that I wanted to just respond to. You said that Gaia is angry. And I guess in my personal view of the world, Gaia isn't angry. Gaia is, it's all divinity, right? Everything is divinity in form. And so, you know, Gaia as a whole is in the same play we're all in. She might be annoyed that we all got off stage and we're wandering around doing something else and we're not in the play, but I think it can be detrimental to our process to ascribe negative feelings to the planet, or to think that the planet is angry, because the planet is a individuated function of divinity as well. We're all in this together. And if there's any annoyance at all, it's merely that humans in physical form have forgotten why they came here. Like I could see where it would be frustrating from, you know, from the universe's perspective, that when we're not in form, we make the agreement to come in form and be in the play, and then we get here and we wander off the stage and put down the script and go do something else. I can imagine that there's a certain amount of like frustration maybe, but I would never ascribe the emotion of anger. Everything loves us. The universe loves us. It will love us more if we get back on stage, but but it still loves us, even in our disconnected, wandering around without a script form. So I just had to share that. Thank you.
I appreciate what you said, and I've heard you, and I thank you for it. I just want to tell you that being an American, you've got kind of a mild way of looking at it when you make the analogy that we're wandering off the stage and doing something else. My son was working in Malaysia, and he said that everyone had to wear face masks because Malaysia is an extremely rich country, but they were burning the forests or something, and now they're doing it on purpose in Brazil and Indonesia. So if I could just become a little more alarmist, what I would say is that they've brought a Coleman stove to the set and are starting to burn the carpet. I don't think it's as bad as this.
No, I don't buy it. Sorry.
Still don't buy it.
No. There's only, here's the thing. It comes back to what is the one energy that exists. There's only one energy that exists, and it's love. Everything else is a lack of that. So I don't think the planet will participate in a lack of that.
I agree, Linda. And when you were talking about us wandering off the stage and like the way I felt about, because as you say, the universe loves us and the planet, the way I felt about the planet is like the way, you know, a parent feels when it's watching its children just totally go off the rails. And you're like, you're frustrated, but there's still that affection, you know, that sort of affection of like, what the heck are they doing now? That was how I sort of felt about it when you were talking about it. And I totally agree that like I wouldn't ascribe the kinds of emotional confusion I think that we humans get into to the planet. And also the planet, I mean, I'm sure it's horrible and painful, the stuff that we're doing, but at the same time, we're not destroying the planet. What we are doing is destroying the conditions that are allowing us to live the way we live, you know, and if we make it so that all the humans die off, or most of us, I mean, that's probably actually better for the planet, frankly. So I that's all I have to say. Thank you. Complete.
I agree, Mary.
Well, all right. I won't be any more negative than I've already been.
Thank you, Shabana.
It's very frightening, though, when he says that, you know, you're basically packing up your briefcase to leave. Like you could end the planet. You could, you know, destroy it. That's all. I mean, I don't think that it'll happen, but it's going to take a concerted effort by people who are deeply connected to change course. I mean, none of us here is in the 1%. So we're all in this together. None of us is an old white man. So that's always, you know, helpful.
Well, don't forget, everything signed up for this experience. Right? Just like we signed up, Earth signed up. It's a co-creation. It's a collaborative effort.
Yes, yes. And now that I've expressed the grief and fear, I'm on the same wavelength as you, but I appreciate your letting me say it. And I think Bhima was saying the same thing, is that other than natural disasters, she sees it going in a positive direction. Is that right, Bhima?
Yes, in a way, to be connected. I mean, to deeply connect into the source inside, so that it is not possible. And that will connect with others, and that will connect with the earth and the cosmos and everything. I call it celestial love. I have written a song about that, celestial love. And that is, that's how I feel it. That when I feel that feeling, I feel that I'm contributing to a change. But if I lose it and somehow disconnect, maybe because influencing by what is happening and so on, then there is, then I need to go deeper again and go back there. Then I feel relaxed and supportive. And that's what I think this book is about, and all these books has been about. Yeah, so that's true. To connect to the source inside. What is there otherwise? And what is more than that? There is nothing. No, I don't know. So, yeah, that's what. As part of that celestial love is all that ever can truly be is a part of my, but it's free we are in our cosmic duty as you and me, but one in thee. Because there is no other way than to be in that connection. Yeah, I can talk about that forever because that's the only thing that really, really, really connects to me. And I'm so grateful for listening to these books. And Linda, I have missed your reading of this conversation. No, what was it? What you're doing after?
The last one?
Oh, conversation or Course of Miracles.
Course of Miracles, yes. I would love to hear it, but I don't know exactly how to get onto it. So if you send me the link, I would love to do that. Because the other one is 1 o'clock in the night for me, and that is a little too late. This one is better. So
Right. I'm also putting them all up on YouTube. And so if you go to YouTube, you can, or SoundCloud, both. You should be able to search for Linda Lamb. And there's just the audio on SoundCloud, and on YouTube is the video.
But you can hear it directly when you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's something different. It's always special to listen to it directly.
Yeah.
So that is after this call, is it?
Yes.
So what is the link?
And I'll if you go to Facebook and you look for Love by Light and join that group.
Okay.
I live stream it on Facebook right after this, and then I post them to YouTube and to SoundCloud.
Mm.
And then, but if you sign up for Love by Light, then you'll also get the daily workshop lessons. You know, there's a workbook for the students, and there's a lesson for every day. And those roll out each morning.
Okay.
Put your email in the chat box, and I'll email you.
You ask me?
I say put your email in the chat box, and I will email you some info as well.
Okay.
I just want to point out then, when I tried to go on Facebook to the Love by Light page to see it, it didn't pop up that way. But then when I went back to my feed, it showed up in my feed. So for anybody else if anybody else has had trouble getting it, that's what I had to do. It was weird, and I ended up being late because I was sitting here watching your page and going, that Love by Light page, and going, why isn't it here? So if anyone else has that problem, that's a way to make it.
What was the name of the Facebook page? Say it again.
I'm going to put it in the chat box. Love by Light. But I'm going to put it in the chat box right now.
Love by Light.
Yeah, I had exactly the same problem as Mary, Linda.
Yeah, I don't know how all that stuff works, That's like Facebook world.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for Mary explaining it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, I wanted to say, I would love a group where we just listen to Bima talk how she was talking right then, because I swear I just went into such a beautiful place of connection, and I will remember that phrase of celestial love, because it's a good phrase for the thing, you know, the connection. And I also want to thank you, Shabana, because everything you share always makes me, it helps, even if it's kind of negative or whatever, because it's always part of something I've felt too. So even if there's another way of looking at it that might feel better, I like to hear you articulate the things you do. So just to acknowledge that. So thank you, everybody. I love you all. Now I'll go be quiet.
Well, thank you for appreciating my negativity, Mary.
Thank you, Mary, for your appreciation. But I have so much written about this. Basically, I think I would love to hold a kind of group in that, from all what I have done, but I'm not an official person like that. But I could do it privately.
Also, well, okay, I'm going to email you then.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I just have a question, Bima. If instead of the meditation, you could sing your song, I think it would be very powerful if you're willing. The song you mentioned.
Yeah, I can do that. I sang it yesterday on a wedding.
Perfect. I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, Bima, because it's that time. Bima?
Can you sing it now instead of the meditation?
Oh, are we ready for the meditation?
Yes.
Yeah, we're ready for your song instead of the meditation.
Okay, I thought we should read more, so that's why. Just a second, I will take up it here, so I have but I do it without guitar now. Okay, I just do it without playing a guitar.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I came in to the Facebook side and I have joined. So you know that. You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So, celestial love for you, celestial love for me, celestial love is all that ever can truly be. Listen, listen to the heart of the universe. Listen, listen and be the heart of it from within us. Embraced we are in the cosmic beauty, you as he, me as she, free we are in our cosmic duty, as you and me, but one indeed. There might be nothing to say, as behind even pray. There is only the essence of the divine in our presence. Listen, listen to the heart of the universe. Listen, listen and live the heart of it from within us. Celestial love for you. Oh, celestial love in you. Celestial love in me. Celestial love is all that ever can truly be. Celestial love in you, celestial love in me. Celestial love is all that ever can truly be.
Thank you, Bima.
Was it okay?
Very nice.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, everybody, since we're out of time, we'll see each other next week, and I'll have my thoughts together to make a response to this week for next week. So, I love you all.
Yeah, thank you so much for holding this space.
No worries.
Thank you, Nanette, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Talk to you all later.
Bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love you too, Mary.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.